So this is going to be a very different video than I originally attended, and actually the best information is actually at the back end of the video, especially from a free-to-play or new player account. I thought I was going to build up one of these decks to where it was playable and slightly competitive and show off that deck and move on and come up with another one the very next week. But because this is the budget account, we can't really do that effectively all the time. So I need to continue to build up my collection, and I am a strong believer in you practice what you preach. And I was preaching very heavily about the jump in event. For a brand new account, this is very good. I would do this up to 30-35 times, and then by the time rotation happens and stuff like that, it's not as powerful because you already have the earlier rares and those get converted into gems. That could be okay, but to optimize everything, do these early on. Use those cards in the decks that you want to build out and use these as a baseline for a good deck. Now, whenever you're playing these budget accounts, you also want to consider ranking right here. I am not worried about what our rank is in this account, at least for another, oh god, as long as it takes me to really be happy about where we are in the collection. As you can see, and this is kind of neat, right? This is new, but this set collection right here, once this starts to go further towards completion, then we will start going into ranked, and I think that is the strongest way to go with this. As you can see, I spent a lot of time focusing down in here. We got a little bit of historic stuff, but not too much. But now, one of the things that's holding us back on these collections is the rare cards, and those will always be the ones holding us back. So this is not nearly as complete as you would think, right? So I wouldn't worry too much about this until later on, because whenever you're first starting off an account, you want to focus primarily on your daily stuff right here, right? You get 500 coins for the smaller ones. I usually ignore these and I try to refresh them for 750 coin quests. Definitely getting the first 4 wins at least, since I am a bit of a completionist. Generally I go for 10 or 15 wins, but most of the time I am not going to be wasting my time in the ranking, right? We're not going into ranked because, I mean, the rewards are kind of pathetic if you think about the amount of time that you need to build up the rank. Yeah, we could crack these wild cards and come up with something decent enough to get us into platinum consistently, and in fact I have something I think will get us up into platinum consistently. I already showcased that deck and we can't really build onto it too much, so I'm not going to waste your time or my time making a video about it. You can check that video out. My main focus is again on getting these here daily wins. It is also to increase my collection of rare cards in standard. Not worried about alchemy, not worried about historic at this point in this account. We need more coins to get into another draft. We're only using coins in the quick drafts, right? And to get there, I want something that at least does a little bit better than what we have available to us now. Another major option, and I have a whole series on these starter decks, is to use these starter decks that actually get your daily wins. Again, not going into ranked, just getting your feet wet, getting in there. If you have blue and white in your daily quests, use Angelic Accountants. If you have green or blue, you use Blossoming Growth. Red or black, Ignite the Forge, etc, 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 right? That's what we're going to be wanting to do with these starter decks. They are there to help us complete these quests down here and to get our daily wins. That's kind of what we're doing today in the jump in event. But I also see this as twofold because I don't have nearly enough of the cards that I want out of this event. I definitely want the gens, the haughty gens. I definitely want the Sarah Paragons. So I'm going to go into this. I don't know how many times I'm going to join it, but because I need daily wins and because uncommons are still good for this account, right? I am going to be getting that win and placing the uncommon here. So you get, for 1,000 coins, you do get 2 rares, and you get a chance to get another uncommon. It's kind of like opening a couple of packs and, you know, shuffling them all together and then going into a round or two. You know, that's kind of what this is. Very limited format, very scattered and all over the place, but I played events like this with friends, so, I mean, it ain't no big deal. It ain't a thing, right? You do get to keep the cards, so that's always nice. Let's go ahead and jump in. But before we do, make sure you stay tuned because I'm going to go over a couple of things that a lot of people don't realize about how people construct videos on YouTube and what you should be doing whenever you see these big budget decks come across the screen on the tube. We are going to talk about what it really means to be a budget player. Okay, so here we are, looking at the Creepy Puppeteer as maybe a rare, which I think is decent, but I haven't seen it around standard at all. Whenever it attacks, if you attacked with exactly one other creature this combat, you may have that creature's base power and toughness become 4/3 until the end of turn. This could be really nice to swing in and get a flyer off. You know, if you got a 1/1 in the air, maybe it gets off for a little bit bigger, but this is a rare is a little bit underwhelming, right? If this was an uncommon, this would be a fantastic card. But because it is a rare, it's a little bit lower on my really large desires to have this card. I can't quite, I think Tezzeret comes with mechs, but I'm going to go to that website. I'll link that website in the description below once again. But I believe it's Tezzeret. Let me verify that. So I'm going to mtgazone.com/jump in, and I'm going to scroll down to mechs. And this is actually a very important thing to bring up. This event is a glass cannon. Sometimes you get exactly what you want, but a lot of the times you're going to be getting stuff like a Creepy Puppeteer, which I'm not too sold on. Haven't seen much Dominaria stuff in a while in the jump-in events, but you know, until I get all the rares out of here, I'm still happy going into them. I would recommend maybe 30-35 times at most doing this. You could get more value out of it than just that. Again, if we get multiples of everything, we still get to convert them into gems, so it's not that terrible of a thing, but I would rather be drafting and getting my gems that way. After looking at the rares, I was wrong, right? There are 3 different rares you get in mechs, Reckoner Bankbuster being the one that I'm most excited to get. Search Hacker Mech is a mech heavy deck. I haven't seen many creature heavy, or I'm sorry, vehicle heavy decks though. So, I mean, take it as you will. Vehicles are generally slow and not fantastic if you have multiple different vehicles, right? Reckoner Bankbuster is one of the better vehicles around. And the Mind Link mech, I'm not even really familiar with this, so I'm going to have to read it. The 4/3, whenever it becomes crewed for the first time till end of turn, it becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn, except for it's a 4/3. It's a vehicle artifact in addition to other types and has flying. So I'm really sold on maybe getting the Bankbuster here, right? But if we don't, the other 2 rares are kind of just filler rares. So let me look at Warlock real quick. Oh wait, no, that is not even a choice because this, my friends, is Alchemy. And I'm not worried about that. I'm going to go with mechs. Right, and this might be showcasing the glass cannon aspect of this event, where we're not getting quite what we wanted. Alright, coming up, Warlocks is not something that we're interested in. Enchanting, I believe we have everything we need out of Enchanting. This is another reason why this is a glass cannon event. If you have done it too many times, you only get an option to get the 1 or 2 rares. In the case of mechs, it is 1 of 3 rares. We are going to need those rares to complete the collection, so not a big deal there. But if we have all of the rares, which I think we do with Enchanting, we won't be able to pick that. The main choice here now is Zombies, which is actually a really good pick overall. It works terrible with mechs though, so that's something to keep in mind. In Zombies, you get the Champion of the Perished, which is a fantastic card. You get the Headless Rider, or you get Jader, and I don't know if you saw my draft, but Jader was a really big part of that. I've used Jader in Standard quite a few times, very effectively. And Champion of the Perished is very dangerous when going up against it. As far as the Headless Rider, he could be really good if you have a lot of zombies on the field, right? So he's not even that bad. So if we get him, we're not too worried. And let's go and check to make sure that we don't have 4 of those. First one is Jader. And I don't know how to spell. Jadar. I was probably mispronouncing that one for a long time. Oh my god, we only have 1 Jader. It was the guy we got in the draft. So let's look at this. Headless Rider. We got 2 Headless Riders. And now Perished. 3 Champion of the Perished. So no matter what, we are getting a rare out of this. So you could jump out of the event and go check where your collection stands and whether this is a good idea to pick certain packs, right? So we're definitely going to go Zombies here, because no matter what, we get a rare. With Enchanting, we don't get anything. And with Warlock, we really don't get anything that we really want, because it is Alchemy. Yes, Wizards, quit pushing Alchemy. Nobody wants it. Okay, so mechs and Zombies. So the match itself was, overall, it was fine. You know, we got the win. We didn't have to really work too hard to get that win. We had to face vampires and their shenanigans, and somehow our vehicles got the job done. So we got the 2 packs and an extra uncommon, 2 rares, all of that for just 1,000 coins. Overall, I'm fairly happy with picking up the cards that we got. We didn't get the correct vehicle, and for the Zombies, we got our 4th Perished. So we did get our 4th copy of that. So maybe a zombie deck coming down the road for this account. You know, a lot of this is RNG based, especially when you're drafting and doing jump ins and stuff like that. But I wanted to speed through this match because I really wanted to talk about chasing decks, and I don't think it's a good idea. Let's finish off this match, and then we are going to get into how to actually play a budget deck in a world where all you see are these fancy big decks. Alright, so that's the deck I'm using to collect wins for the day. But let's talk about, for just a moment, when we're actually going to be popping our wild cards. We want to save these. We're going to be using commons and uncommons all the time, but we're going to be collecting a lot of those. As you can see, I have 3 rares and 8 mythics. For the time being, I am not going to be crafting anything that we need rares or mythics with. I am going to create, a really big deck, and I'll show that to you once I figure out what that big deck is going to be. It might even just be the very boring mono black deck that is everywhere in Standard right now, just to go in and grab wins at a very rapid pace, right? But We want to save these until maybe 30 rares, 30 mythics. That sounds pretty good for a deck, a full deck, a real deck that can get us somewhere. Don't chase. Do not chase decks if you are playing a free-to-play account. If you chase decks, you will inevitably blow up your account, because cards come and cards go. People talk on YouTube about certain cards all the time, and they always have this new card that's just a must-have. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that at all. I've been kind of I've kind of done that with the Sarah Paragon and the Children myself on this channel, right? But I am telling you from a very honest standpoint not to do that on a free-to-play account, because you will always be chasing that next card. Save these. Build the deck that you are comfortable playing, right? And these other cards that are in this format, the other big things, your Omnixilis, your Soldred, right? Your Sarah Paragons, if those aren't quite your playstyle, don't craft them. Don't do it. Because you're going to want those to craft the specific deck that you are very good with. That's why I've, started off with a good Selesnya build for this account, and I'm going to be building this out significantly with some Hallowed Hauntings, with a couple other things, Sarah Paragons, stuff like that, just because I really like Selesnya. I think Selesnya is fantastic. Enchantments are really good. I like that playstyle. I'm good at that playstyle. I understand how to make the deck really kick, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the first deck. Now, as your account grows, you can start doing other things like building out into Esper, building out into maybe some Rakdos stuff, a mono black build, though that mono black deck is very expensive on your wildcards. But you don't have to chase the next thing. You'll get there. You will get those cards. If you play consistently, you will get those cards. You don't have to worry about having the most hyped deck on the tube at that given moment. It always makes me laugh a little bit whenever, you see somebody like Covergo Blue construct a deck and then play the deck, and then you see that deck start to populate all over in the arena. We don't have to be that way. We just need to play our game. We need to win on our terms with our budgets. And that is a very important thing to keep in mind, is don't chase a card. Let it come to you. That's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoy this kind of content. Thank you for joining me today. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you do not like the content, thank you very much for listening in and hearing out what I had to say. That is very much so appreciated. What are your guys' favorite ways to play Arena? What are you guys' favorite archetypes? What color combinations? Do we have Selesnya people here? Do we have Rakdos people here? Maybe some mono black players, or maybe even those very vicious, very devious mono red players. I guarantee there's some mono red or mono white players out there, the bane of my existence and many others. But let me know, will you own up to it? Mono red or mono white? I played a lot of mono red with goblins, so there is no shame in it. But let me know what you play in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.